Ladies and gentlemen, it's 7:30, so we can open the meeting now. The first thing on the agenda is the election of chairman and vice chairman. Do I have any proposals?
I'd like to propose Liz for chairman.
Anyone second that?
Second that.
Anybody? Any other proposals? Okay. Can we vote on that, please? Okay. Thank you. And for vice chairman.
I'd like to propose Colin.
I'll second that.
Anyone else? Any other proposals for vice chairman? Okay. Can you have a vote on that,
So
please?
don't be late again.
He's late for his own planning meetings.
Don't worry, Santa's on it.
Yes.
Lovely. Wonderful. Thank you all. The next agenda item is the co-option of new members. At the moment we are 9, and with the 11, we have 2 new members to co-opt. One of whom is here tonight. We need to propose Leslie Ronson. We need to propose Leslie to be co-opted.
Propose Leslie.
Can I get a second?
Yeah.
Vote on that, please. Leslie, you're now a former member of the Parish Council. So you can move from there and sit over here. We've also got one other person to co-opt who unfortunately can't be here tonight because I think he's away on holiday.
Yes.
And his name is John Egglesfield. Can somebody please propose him?
Yeah, I'll
Thanks,
propose
Toby.
John.
Any seconder for John? Take Paul, thank you. And can I have a vote on that as well? Okay, so John obviously isn't here tonight, but will be able to join us next week. Has he signed his forms and things?
No, he has been sent them, so
Okay, so he can bring his official forms
he's
in.
in Spain or somewhere.
Belgium.
Or somewhere across the channel.
Somewhere foreign.
Close.
That's not that far away. Anyway,
He's not here.
he hasn't got his forms to me.
No, okay.
Does that mean that we can put him on all the committees?
Well, that's my next agenda item. The next agenda item is memberships of the committees. So have we now got other members of all our committees? Which committees are we short on of people?
Well, planning, we've an even number, don't we, I think, do we?
We do have an even number, which causes
We talked to John about that, didn't
a small issue last time, didn't it?
Yeah,
I think I'd better firm up on that before we actually,
okay, because we've got 5 members, but only 4 voting members.
yes.
So is anybody else, any other councillor who would like to, I won't put you on the spot now, any other councillor who would like to be a member of the planning committee, please consider it, think about it, and you're very welcome to join me in college.
It's a really good committee.
And
It has biscuits in it.
Like this one that doesn't.
Always starts late as
We
well.
can't afford biscuits for 11 councillors.
He did say he would be interested in planning, but I think I'd better just double check that.
And I think the other committee that we're a little bit short of heads is the neighbourhood planning committee.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say, well, I'm going to approach John Disbury to see if he could, not on a permanent basis, but we've got all the tasks coming up soon, so anyone that we can get on that. I'll ask John if he wants to become a permanent member. Failing that, hopefully he could probably assist us on the next phase.
Okay.
And
Peter White's agreed to join us, isn't he?
Yeah, Peter's on it.
Okay. Is anybody else here who'd like to join the neighbourhood plan committee? You're very welcome to join me in college.
Yeah, you don't have to do it permanently as such, but at the moment we're coming up to a sort of fairly busy time where we've got to do some in-depth research about various topics, so any help would be gratefully received.
Again, I won't pressurise anybody to
No,
make a
no,
decision.
not
Now in
really on the
public, you can
spot,
go
but
away and
if
think
you
about it.
could,
We
let me
should
know,
ask
would be
Leslie
great.
whether she's more facility. Would you like to go on any other committees, or you're happy, because you're on all the facilities ones, aren't you?
Yeah, both, and there's subcommittees as well, unless that alters now, does it?
No,
No.
no, that's there to say.
I don't mind planning, but I don't really want to do neighbourhood planning. Not that's
No, that's fine.
just planning would be okay. But think neighbourhood plan might be a bit
Yeah.
full on.
No. Really?
Shall I talk to John Egglesfield first then?
Yeah, I'll do whatever, I don't mind, just point me in the right direction.
Otherwise we'll end up with the number again, won't we? So
Yes.
actually
Yes,
it's in the first
yeah,
instance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
You're doing
One
quite,
would be-
you're doing quite a lot
one would
already.
be a good
aren't you?
idea.
1, 2 would be
back
surface.
to,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So any other points on membership of committees we should raise now, do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay. And we have apologies for absence?
Well, John Egglesfield, of course, Peter Wyatt, who's not well, and Carol Paternoster also sent her apologies.
Thank you. And have any councillors got
Bill
any?
Chapman, did Bill say he was
He,
sort of semi-apology?
I know he's up north in Manchester, so
That's noted.
that's why he's
Do any councillors got any personal or prejudicial interests in the items on the agenda?
No.
Okay. And now we come to approve the minutes, Parish Council meeting the 2nd of September. So we've obviously circulated these by email. Anyone else got any further comments?
No.
Something like proposing, please?
Pros?
Second, Ali, can you vote on them, please? And the next agenda item is public participation. Any members of the public got any questions, comments, items of discussion they'd like to raise with the parish council?
Someone there?
No, I'll get to everybody, don't worry. Keith?
Go ahead.
No?
I was only going to ask if anybody's looked into the temporary traffic lights at the bottom of Stablebridge Road, which seems to be causing an ongoing daily problem. And we had a situation just 2 nights ago where all 3 traffic lights stayed on red
Oh, I saw that and everything else.
for like 2 hours. So it was complete gridlock because no one knew what to do, where and when. Has anybody actually contacted the developer to find out how long this is intending to go on? Because it is causing chaos.
I don't think we have, have we? Have we, Colin?
No, I've had no formal complaints about that to me
The only thing I did
whatsoever.
see the comment on from Aston Clinton, but other than that, we haven't heard anything
My
else, have we?
understanding is, although it's associated with the new residents, it's the utility companies that are digging the road up.
Right.
And one will do it, and they'll put the road back, and then another one comes along and does it. I mean, a point of contact should be the Taylor Wimpey, just in terms of project management, because whatever happens, there should be a programme, and they've not shared that with anybody. My understanding is they don't actually have to get consent. That's, it's not like a planning scenario.
I thought they'd get a permit from TFB.
Possibly, but
I would think Transport for Bucks comes into it, I would have thought. And they say, because I was at a meeting today with them, and they say that they should attend any failed traffic light within 2 hours. There you go, 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours.
it'll be a long queue after
But
that.
surely there needs to be a telephone number or something for someone, like the public, to be able to contact.
Well, as far as I know, that's on Transport for Bucks. If they are the ones responsible for temporary traffic lights, that is I'm not sure of.
Can I just
But any other traffic lights, it's on their website.
101 and tell them, and they get onto the
Okay.
that I do it that way.
Okay,
Right.
so can we contact somebody, the relevant person, and just tell them what's going on and see if they know how long this traffic light's going to be in place for?
Or who's responsible, yeah, whether it's Transport for Bucks or whether it's the actual developer, I'm not sure whose remit that would come under, to be honest.
Probably the utility company.
It'll be the utility companies.
Paul?
The ultimate responsibility is Bucks County Council, are responsible for the highways,
Yes, it must be right. Yeah.
so they have to inform them they're doing it.
Transport from that.
So that would be TFB then.
Okay. We will try and do something. Keith?
It was only a little point, and forgive me being niggly, but can you speak up a little bit? Because from the other end of the table, you're speaking with your democratic voice, and it's a little bit low for me.
Okay, I will try and speak
I'm sure you have
louder.
a court voice.
Well, don't encourage her.
No, no.
Sorry, Liz.
Colin, you have to speak. You have to put your hand up first before you speak. I'm not going to take any more comments like that. If we can all adopt Paul. Paul's doing it the right way. Hand up first. Then you have to stop those kind of comments. Anyway, can you hear me better now, Keith?
Well, the last few moments you've been very good.
Thank you.
Right, is it possible that, now we've just witnessed the election of the chairman, vice chairman, or, that these sort of names and things to be on the website, before, because it takes 2 months before the minutes come out. But I think it would be useful for the public to know, who's on what on the council.
Okay, I'm sure we can do that. Can we organise
I'm
that?
not quite sure where, but it's
Isn't
somewhere.
it already
probably.
there?
I think it is.
You don't? I don't know.
I thought the roles and committees were spelled out.
Committees, I don't know that.
Make it more prominent.
No, it's not.
It's probably, if it is, it's not up to date, because we've only elected a chairman tonight.
There's a PDF which was taken straight out of Village Life in May, when everyone came on in May, which is, you can't change a PDF, so that has to actually be retyped, and neither of us have had time to do that yet. But on the actual web pages themselves, those aren't correct. I have altered all of those names.
Okay,
But yes,
we'll organise that.
We'll
Thank you.
work on that.
That's just a...
Yeah, that's. Any other points or questions?
Yeah.
Hi, John.
Yes. Does anybody know about a development? It's near actually Morton Road, Buckingham, and I can give you the details later. I won't bore you with that. But it was recommended for approval, actually back in last December. Committee report recommended approval. It got to committee, and they were told that it had been called in by the Secretary of State before it got to committee. So they had to sit there, basically, look a bit glum, and so you have no power to approve this development. It's thrown out. There were only 16 letters of objection. It was the development for 130 dwellings, sports pitches, open space, Castle Mill, Morton Road, Buckingham, and there was a letter of objection from the Speaker, Mr. Burko, and that was it. And I thought this is very strange, because they seem to have a lot more traction in the system than we have.
Yes, there are only 16 letters of complaint.
That's
Really?
Yeah.
Only 16 objection letters?
Only 16 letters of complaint. I can give you the details later, but I thought, I'd raise the matter now, and then
Colin, I guess we'll have to look at it and see.
then everyone can discuss it later.
I haven't heard of that one, but I mean, David Littleton's been, he objected to a couple of the ones that came up recently for here, but it didn't have any sway at all. So why John Burko should have more sway than Littleton, I don't know.
It's only kind of a 3-paragraph
Mr.
job.
Burko must have more weight than John Littleton for some unknown reason. Don't know why.
I think this is it. I couldn't understand that it was called in before it got to committee. Never heard that.
I never heard that either.
Okay,
They're normally called.
Well, send that to me, John.
They're
Yeah,
potentially
absolutely.
calling up. Send it to both me and Colin, we have a chat about it.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
I hadn't heard about this one. Obviously it's not here, but it's actual in Buckingham, is it?
Yeah, it's Castle Mill, Morton Road, Buckingham, 1/02/601/AOP. Very strange.
It's very strange.
I can believe
Lucky
it.
them.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Have they got a neighbourhood plan there, John?
Well, it's Buckingham, so
They just had their
They've
referendum.
just had theirs approved, haven't they?
That was the reason, I believe, for the calling in of it, because it was so close. I
To the referendum, wasn't
It
it?
was so close to the referendum that they were trying to get it under the wire.
But it's still very unusual to call something in before a decision's been made, because normally they let the decision be, because the decision may have been no. So why would you call it in before the decision? That's the obvious. We need to look at it to see what differences there were. But if their neighbourhood plan has just gone to referendum, of course ours is a long way off that. So,
I'll take that up later.
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other points, questions, anything else I would like to raise?
Yes. Have you had any feedbacks about the gate down College Road South?
About the
new gate put in the College Road South?
Is this the gate we put in some months ago?
No one has said anything to us about anything.
No, we haven't had any comments about it. Why?
I just wondered. There are so many vehicles coming down there, they can't turn round, which turn round in my drive. We had an ambulance down the other day, had to shunt around. It's absolutely ludicrous when you've got a turn-around circle down the road. They spend £36,000 to block the road off. Now they're restricting the road. Excuse me. So if the travellers get in there, they're not even interested in getting them out.
The gate's still there though, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Gate's still there, and the turning circle is immediately in front of the gate, isn't it? Well, they've enlarged
It's
the
not the
road.
new one they put in, yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying they don't use that?
No, they don't.
They go to the gate and then they back up to your drive and turn in?
Turn around. In fact, they don't even, I'll put a temporary sign up on my drive saying, turn in circle 100 metres down the road, and they all turn around my drive, they look at you, just turn around. Either that, the council have either got to put a big sign up telling people there is a sign down there, I don't mean the highways, because most people come down, all they can see is a very narrow road with a gate. Anybody doesn't know, they say the road's blocked off, they just swing straight into my drive.
But there's a dead end sign, isn't there, at the beginning of your road, isn't there?
There always has been, it's always been a dead end road.
Is there any additional signage gone up there?
No, it's just there's a turning circle, but there is a turning circle, but nobody knows. They come down there. Any lorries above a 7-tonner, well, in fact, even a 7-tonner can't turn around. It's too big.
You have to back up, right?
The dustmen go and ballistic.
Is that again something for Bucks Highways?
Transfer from Bucks?
Yeah, it must be for transport.
Yeah.
I know they said they was going to leave the gate there for a year, and if it didn't work, they was going to leave it permanently open. I think somebody will move down the bulldozer and push it down, so it's a waste of money and time.
Okay, so, cool.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman. Were we consulted on this gate?
It's before our time.
No, we weren't.
Before our time, as most of us. Were you parish council? Colin's our only parish council who predated this council.
Yes, it was sort of told to us that it was going to happen. That was it. They sent. I seem to remember getting some info around about it, saying this is what they proposed. Were there any comments? And I seem to remember commenting, saying about a turning circle, and I turned a piece of paper over and found that they were going to put one in. So my comment, I then had to follow up saying, okay, so what are you going to do? The guy did get back to me and said, yeah, that's the plan, that's what we're going to do, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, I expected the turning circle to fulfil its function, I'm sure he did as well.
Yeah.
Why people are not using it, I've got no idea. I don't care if it's big, I understand, but they're going to back up, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do they back up the whole way, or do they back into
The lorries have to back all the way.
That's right.
If the big lorries don't come on drive, they can't.
No.
It's the sort of delivery people with the sort of big...
It's about time now, you would have thought, it's been cut off long enough now that the sat-nav people would have got that into their sat-navs by now, surely.
No,
Has anyone looked at that map?
Not a chance.
Has anyone looked at the map on the sat-nav to see whether that road is showing?
No, but we're still getting Polish drivers come down the big Arctics and we have to jump out and stop them.
Well, I think the solution has to be, all we can do, I think, is to contact Transport for Bucks and explain to them and see if some sort of bigger, more obvious signage be put at the beginning of the road. John?
Could you have a word with Bill Chappell, because he was the instigator of this gate.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Have a word with Bill Chappell.
Okay, we could do that as well.
If there's any help with the council, they sent round for people to voice their opinion. They had 13 letters back,
13.
one opposing, which was me. 2 couldn't care less, and it went through on the way of the other ones. So I think, maybe I'm talking out of turn, I think it's Bill Chappell's little brainchild, and it went through regardless. So.
Okay. Well, we'll do what we've just said and see if that'll make any difference. If we can make things we'll try. Is there any other?
Just one other thing, Chairman. Could somebody possibly go up to the entrance to the park with a bucket and a sponge and clean the Aston Park sign? It looks terrible. It's just covered in mildew. It doesn't look very nice. You've tidied up the entrance to the park considerably. It looks a lot better now. But the sign does look really tardy.
Is that sign staying?
I've got a meeting.
No, they're going
I've got a
on there.
meeting with Mark Stroud.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Good.
It's going anyway. That's why I haven't done it.
Excellent.
It's just taking.
Yeah, we're going to get a proper wood sign.
Getting a wooden
You know.
sign.
Oh, right, forget it then. Forget it.
If it takes much
As
longer,
opposed
I
to
will go up there with a
fiberglass metal
bucket.
thing.
I think,
Yeah.
John, if it takes much longer, as George just said, if it takes a lot longer, we will go and give it a quick scrub and see if it makes it look a
I
bit
had
better.
hoped to have it changed by now, but I agree, every time I see it, I will go up there with a bucket
And
and
there's a cycle sign as well over there. You can reach that.
I was going to say, that'd be mine, that'd be me.
But you're saying right generally.
With all those leaves outside the bell.
And Bill.
Sure. Right. Any other questions or comments from the public? Okay. Can we move on to the clerk's report then, please?
Right, we've just received a notice from Bucks Highways to say that the Lower Icknield Way will be closed for probably one night up to the London Road roundabout, but they haven't said which night. So
Does the sign?
Is
You
it
just
up?
sign this
Has it
morning,
gone up?
yes.
Ah.
Yes, the sign on the
But does it
roundabout
say
now.
which night?
Yes, but I can't remember what it was.
Is it only
No, that's-
proposing one night, Jill? I thought it came out with more than
They
one.
originally said up to 5
That's
nights.
what I
They're
thought I
now
read.
thinking it's going to take one night, but I think
It says
we
one
need to.
night, but I can't remember which.
Oh.
I did spot it this morning.
Ninth.
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 So Friday.
Friday.
Oh, good.
Anyway, here in the office, we're pleased to announce that our new assistant clerk, Elaine Barry, has started and will have particular responsibility for the planning committee and the neighbourhood plan, as well as liaising with the cafe in the park. Elaine works Mondays, Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I'm here every day except Thursdays. At the moment, the Parish Council is in a planning phase, working on programming and budgeting for the next 6 months and then into the next financial year. There will be a package of park improvements, starting with some new signage at the entrance and CCTV, which has now been approved. And then we'll be moving on to some new play equipment and a picnic site for next summer. We're also planning at the moment for Remembrance Sunday, which will be held on the 8th of November, and the Christmas float with Santa, which will be held on Sunday the 20th of December. I'm going to finish by just saying that the Parish Council has been truly saddened by the loss of one of our avid skateboarders, Ben Roberts. There wasn't a single day last summer when we didn't look out of our windows and see Ben on the skate park, and he'll be truly missed. The Parish Council has decided that, providing the family have no objection, and actually since I wrote this I've spoken to the family and they don't, we will be installing a new bench next to the skate park with a plaque in memory of Ben.
Thank you. The next agenda item is finance and staff. Susie.
I just thought, just slightly different order, it's all right. Before giving the month-end report, I wondered if we just want to do the approval of the expenditure first, and then it just flows a bit better with the month-end report leading into the precept.
Does anyone need a copy of the spreadsheets?
Yeah, come on, just I'll do it, I'll give you some.
Is everybody happy with the month-end report? Any questions or anything?
Is this the common question on the ones to be agreed, or just the ones that are...
What do you think you question about?
The Buckland Landscape's £3,206 for mould damage, mow, weed and feed. That's a big chunk. What exactly does that consist of?
It consists of repairing mould damage in the park and paying for the weed and feed of the football pitches, which is actually paid for by the football clubs. All we've done, we've taken the money in from the football clubs and paid it out to Buckland Landscapes.
So they paid for all of that?
Yes.
Okay, problem solved. Thank you.
I believe we approved that.
Yes, we did.
At the previous meeting.
Okay.
The amount and the...
Yeah, I thought the amount was a bit like, I think the figure I recall was 1,600 for feed and weed.
No, it's the package of works that constitutes that, and it was cost neutral because we took the cost that we were charged for it and the football clubs pay for it.
Okay, yeah, I'm totally happy with that. And there was, did I see one more? So I can't find it at the moment. Was there one more? Or was that a proposal, wasn't it, for the
Yes.
churchyard for extra?
Yes.
That's later.
Okay.
Everybody else happy with all the figures
Yeah.
they get analysed? Okay, can we propose a motion that we can pay all the outstanding, or clerk can pay all the outstanding invoices? Okay. Can we have a show of hands on that, please? Unanimous.
Our report for the month into this one, I partly wanted to start on that because we reviewed our financial spending and we've decided there's two ways of looking at it. One being as a new council, we felt very much we're still finding our way, trying to plan ahead, and we have asked, just as a reminder to all the other subcommittees, please review your spending this month because we very much want to look at our next meeting where we're going to predict our spending and moving it on. Also, with that in light and looking at things, we're thinking we would like to get the auditor in again to review how things are going now and just check that we're on the right tracks. So not leaving it till the end, and also we'll start now thinking about the precept and where we are. So that's one of the decisions we've come to. We'd like to invite someone back in to help us with that process. Also, Jill and I are now starting to look at predicting and looking what are the regular things going out and what is coming up, so we can actually look at more of a prediction where we will be by the end of the year. In regard to spending and things, the defibrillator funding application has been submitted. That's gone in now, but that's a sort of a month to a 2 month wait to find out whether we get the income for that or not. And again, that's on the agenda later, the Facilities Committee, to go on with the discussion of that one. As already been mentioned by Jill, we've got the money for the CCTV has been successful now, and as a parish council now we need to discuss and think of Facilities Committee if we can have it on the agenda for how that's going to proceed. How is it going to be, what's the impact going to be, who's going to be reviewing it, and how that's actually going to work now we've got the funding for it. And that was the main ones that we went through. And then we've got leading up to the precept matters. As I've said, if we're looking at that, we're setting ourselves a November deadline to start now looking at our predictions for the end of the year. So all the other committees can have a look at their spending and where they see their forecast is going to be.
When would you like a deadline for that, Sue?
We would, ideally, we want for our November date to have that as our discussion time in our finance, so we need your information in by, we normally meet at the end of the month for the finance, so we really need it by mid-November so then we can
So in an ideal world, I'd really like it at the end of October. So can all the chairs of the various committees talk to the rest, ensure that you're looking at what monies you might be thinking of spending next year? And that includes us calling our neighbourhood plan.
Yeah, we're doing quite well on that at the moment.
But we need to put our figures together for it, which we haven't really done. So we need to do that, put that together, and then to Susie and Jill, so we can actually have a proper budget for next year, and that supplies everybody. But
okay,
so we need to do that, I think. If everybody, the other committee can do exactly the same as soon as possible. I think it would be very helpful, wouldn't it, to you've got a process started then.
Yes.
There's not a last minute issue.
well, we're meeting with Sue, aren't we, on the 19th, so I suspect that's where we'll get some ideas of expenditure.
And then the other things that we discussed and looked at are now leading on to the motion of the equality and the diversity policy. We've had a look at a few, and Jill has kindly amalgamated and got one in front of you now. You've had it emailed to you, but if everybody's happy for it and is happy with how it's been set out, because we don't have an equal opportunity and diversity policy, we wanted to propose this one. So my motion is to agree that, sorry, that one, we've done that. So to approve and recommend equal opportunity and diversity policy to be adopted by the Parish Council.
Does anyone need a copy? Please say no.
Who wants to propose that?
I'll propose it.
Alan, second it, I'll second that. Can you all vote on that?
Yeah.
And then leading on from that, we also then looked into looking in the expenses policies because most, or all other parish councils have one in place. So again, we looked at a few and we're proposing this one that we feel that covers everything that we could think of. So we'd like to propose to approve and recommend expenses scheme to be adopted by this parish council.
Who's going to propose that? Second it? Everybody, show of hands, please. Unanimous again. Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions for Susie before she finishes her report? No? Okay. So can we now move on to the next agenda item, which is planning, Colin, please?
Okay, fairly busy month as per normal. The objection was lodged for 75 houses, Longhorn Farm, that's gone in. Objection lodged for the Rectory Farm as well, that's also gone in. ABDC approved the 7 dwellings adjoining the park here. That's gone through without anything at all. The dwelling between 24 and 26 London Road, which is the bungalow next to the vegetable shop, if you sort of know that area from the way, that was actually refused on the basis of incursion into countryside.
Really?
That sort of shows you the complete and utter inconsistency, yeah, whatever else you want, madness of ABDC planning committee. It doesn't, how building that sits between two dwellings can be an incursion into countryside, I'm not really sure.
Odd really when you think that all the other buildings, all the other...
Yeah, like 95 or so, yeah.
Well, it's obviously not countryside, Colin.
I'm just telling you, okay? Proposal for Park Farm, which Toby attended, and
Several of us got to see it at
yeah.
Aston Hall.
And
It's 40 houses, isn't it?
40 houses, very
This is intention to submit, isn't it?
Yeah, intention, so it's sort of somewhere between a pre-app and an app, this is at the moment. They haven't formally submitted it yet. They've asked to meet us for further discussion, which as a planning committee we would be minded to do.
Yes.
And I suspect we will do that. Okay. I attended ABDC briefing about neighbourhood plans on the 17th. Although that wasn't very encouraging in terms of housing numbers, they still insist it's worth pressing ahead with neighbourhood plans, and more villages in the area are going ahead with neighbourhood plans, and the more of us that do it, it does become more cohesive, and they do have more trouble to sort of throw them aside if there's a lot of us doing it. So, taken from that, we pretty much get on with it really and carry on as we do. We had the consultation on the 4th and 5th of September. I can't remember, when was our last meeting? Was that prior to that? Or?
Was that a neighbourhood plan meeting?
Yeah. No, the latest council meeting. When was that? Was that before?
Just before.
Just before, yeah, I was so close, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was the Wednesday before that meeting.
Wednesday before
That's what I
Friday.
thought. So we've had that. Thanks to all the council members that helped, turned up for that. Very, very good. We had over 600 comments. I don't know how many people through the door. We think maybe between 150 or so through the door. 600 comments on all the subjects. And that has been collated very kindly by Ed Peel, who's on the NHB, and has done a wonderful job there. We had a meeting with Jenny, our advisors, on the 30th to consolidate that, and we've allocated topics to be further in-depth consultation with leading up to a questionnaire. You will find out your topic shortly then.
I thought I had a topic. How's
You
it?
had, no, you ain't got that one. You've got something else. So, anyway, we've made progress on that, but we do want some volunteers for additional help. It's not to join the committee and to do the whole thing, but it would be nice if anyone, like Susie, and I had someone to ask questions about the school, would take up on things like that. And we've got various subjects, so if we do call on you, see what you can do for us, and it would be great. If you know anyone that's very keen within the village, whatever the bee in their bonnet is, or however they want to help, put them in touch with me, and it would be great to be received for all of us that are on the committee to do all this. Okay?
Toby.
Can I just
Yes,
ask
Toby.
the areas that you think you need assistance in? Informs of those, or
Well, there's 6 main topics really. They're so broad, they cover virtually everything within the village, but I can certainly email you it. And if everyone would like me to email them around, Robert, email the subjects we've got.
skills
Okay?
amongst us, and let's try and match those.
Okay?
Can I make
Yep.
a suggestion? If you're looking for extra help,
I am.
would suggest put a short advert in the Friday Flyer. Again, we paid £8 or what?
In the...
School
School
Friday
flyer.
Flyer. So it's like £8, but straight away you're getting out to
All the parents, we did that for neighbourhood plan, didn't we?
yeah.
Okay, school magazine, great, thanks, Lizzie. Okay, we'll get on to that, that's brilliant. What else has gone on this time? With one small extension, 15 Lowick Need Way, which John Conley looked at for us. I've looked at it as well, no objection to that. So they'll probably pull the house down. I also went to Transport for Bucks meeting today, another 4 hours out of my life.
You're retired, Colin.
I need to go to work for a rest, I think.
Ask for his job back.
Yeah. So it was actually quite interesting, believe it or not, and I stayed awake for the whole time, which was quite interesting. It was a discussion of budget priorities, which is obviously the whole of Bucks, that is, but Aylesbury itself and the surrounding area does take up a big chunk of their budget. They work on around about 20 million a year. It's the sort of figure they look at, and that covers everything. Structures, which is the buildings, the tunnels, the culverts. There's highways, which is actual road, and then there's ITS, which is the intelligent bit, which is traffic lights, road monitoring, and it is actually quite a lot of stuff. The biggest one, of course, is carriageways. That is the biggest swallower of the money. There were quite a few parish councils, it was all for parish councils, quite a few there, and they wanted us to sort of vote in terms of where we would want the priorities allocated. And pretty much everyone knocked down their highways budget, because it was by far the biggest, and allocated it to some of the smaller ones. It was well worth knowing, and what came out of that was, as well, if you have any problems, like you've talked about traffic lights, or footpaths, someone's come to me about footpaths breaking up, especially on Green End Street and places like that, you go onto Transport for Bucks, onto their website, and you can lodge your complaint on there, and they say they are now getting very good at monitoring how many complaints go in there, and if you say I've rung up 6 times, they can tell me, no, you've only rung up 3 times about this. So they seem to be getting more on the ball, and they do say if they get the complaints, they will come out and look at it, and then they will assess it and take it from there. So the main thing was, you can come to the Parish Council, and I can do it, or Jill can do it, but you can also go direct to them, and they would want you to do it.
If you fill the fault form in on our website, that links straight through to Bucks County Council website.
It's not Bucks County Council you want to
No,
go
it's
to?
Transport Bucks he goes to.
Oh, it's Transport for
Yeah,
Bucks.
he goes straight through to them.
Right.
With a copy to Jill, so that she gets the log of it, but it goes equally direct to Transport for Bucks.
Okay, they are the people that need it. That's what came out from that. So, strategic planning was talked about. They don't get involved in that. These guys just maintain, really. So, a bit about the ring road around Aylesbury, which is close to our hearts in the sense it's trying to skirt through past Aston Clinton. He didn't really want to comment on that at all. Highly surprising. It was mooted by some parish councillors, but they didn't get an answer. Noise from the bypass was raised, from the A41 bypass around the village, because Buckland, Drayton Beecham have got a legal challenge up to it. I talked to the guy about it. Intransigent. They think it's cheap, and they couldn't care less about the noise. Give or take. They are offering to put up some fencing on the bund, some noise reduction fencing. That's as far as they're prepared to go. The guy at Buckland is refusing at the moment, so he wants to take it legally as far as he can go to get them to resurface it. That was about it for the Transport for Bucks today. Yeah, carry on.
Was there anything on traffic calming as a general subject?
Not at all. Not at all. There was one small comment that came up on the signage. and they prefer not to put in speed bumps anymore. They're veering away from that. What they like to do is delineate the road by putting white lines at the edge, widening the centre white line, and artificially narrowing the road.
That works.
They say it does. There you go. That was the only thing that came out about that, Toby. All right. It was mentioned about putting in yellow lines,
Yeah.
and they say A, it's very expensive, and B, all you do is move the problem. So they're not fans of coming out and putting yellow lines, as I know has been proposed somewhere near the school. Because it just moves it around. They say it doesn't really solve anything. It's okay if you've got a junction, you need to keep that clear, that's a different kind of fish, but to stop people parking at a certain time of day, not interested. That came out as well. Last thing, finally got a reply about the 2 trees in ACL 8. You know, that next to 16 Green End Street, the guy has applied to, well, we found out he applied to take them down. Finally got a reply from Miss Jenny Harris, and she has declined to put TPOs on it. They don't come up to a score. Score required is 80. One tree is 72, one is 70, according to her. Don't know how they do that. They are not going to object to have one of those trees taken down, because he's requested it to go down. And they say we should be able to negotiate to keep the other tree. But it's not their land. It's not the applicant's land. It's not Bucks County Council land. I assume it's parish land on that footpath.
On that basis, then we must have the right to say whether the tree stays or goes.
Yep.
If it's not our land,
Absolutely.
if it's our tree.
I've looked at going to the land registry. Go on, Paul.
Sorry, does it need a TPO though?
You can't get one on it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, but-
So if there's no TPO on our tree, can we stop someone trimming it or whatever
Not
they
because-
I
do?
don't know, it's our land. I don't know the answer to that.
Trimming's not a
Yeah.
problem if it goes over to your
Yes.
boundary,
That's right, Kelly.
but they want to take
Yeah.
the whole
If
thing out.
it's our land, we own the land, we own the
They
tree.
need our permission.
They need
Yes.
our permission.
They
to take the
can
tree down.
prune that tree,
If
but
it
they say it will
overhangs their land.
unbalance it. But I'd rather have an unbalanced tree
Then no tree.
than no tree.
I think I think we should stick to our grounds on it.
Okay?
It's our land.
Well,
We believe it's our land. No one can prove it otherwise, can they, Colin? No?
correct. That is a better phrase.
Okay. We
To ascertain
we
will
believe
cost
it is
you
our land.
£149,
Why?
the land registry.
We've got a plan.
If you, to find out, it's 149 quid.
Are you sure?
Yep.
You can do it for much
Well, I
less.
went on the land registry website, which is where I was directed to go to by Miss
What are,
Jenny
you, what
Harris.
are you trying to get off the land registry website?
You can actually find who owns that land. It's 149 quid for the inquiry, and
That's because you're asking them to do research on your behalf.
no, you do it online yourself.
Are you doing that via the parish council? It's only because we've done it recently, it was £7.50.
Well, okay. How did you do that then?
And I had to go and talk to my dad because he was checking some land over at my sister's in Hertfordshire, and it literally was £7.50.
Yeah, as
I use it,
my level was
I
about
use
that
it
level.
frequently, and it's
Did you use it for a land or a right of way?
both. I mean, we use it on a day through work.
Okay.
Well, can we,
Let me
we
know.
don't need to
Yeah.
debate it at length, but
Okay.
can we just
No.
look at that again?
Yeah,
I
okay,
don't
I'll
think
liaise
it's,
with
I don't think
Tony.
it's that kind of money.
I'll
I think
liaise
it's
with Tony about that.
£7.50-ish. So
Okay.
can we look into that? We don't want to spend £149.
No, that's why I didn't do it.
£7.50.
No. Okay.
Unless you want to just do it out of your own money, Colin, of course, in which case we won't object.
How the expenses policy has been approved.
Yes, I'll just claim it back.
No, it's not that kind of expenditure. Read the policy.
That's pretty much it for planning. If anyone's got any further questions of me?
Anyone got
For
the
me?
points for Colin?
No.
There is, I don't know if it's going to come under with the planning or if it's going to come under with the footpaths, but I've had somebody say about where they're planning along doing some of the work, is it Green End Street along there, one of the paths, they keep blocking it. They're putting fences up and along, and they're blocking one of the main, sort of where they're doing one of the developments. I will have to double check which street it is, but I don't know who
Is
to
this
approach
the
thing.
site in Chapel Drive? we're talking
Yeah,
It
it's
about?
must be
on
Chapel
Chapel
Drive.
Drive, yeah.
So-
And at night she's been down a few times to go and walk the dog.
Oh yes,
And
along
the
that
fence
footpath.
has been left across, so you have not been able to access the footpath. And she's actually been down and asked during the day when they're there, saying, "You are going to move that, aren't you? Is that supposed to be across there now? Because I should have."
Yes,
that
that
right."
should-
No,
they
no,
should-
No, we will be moving it, but it's been.
It's been left at night. Okay, well I have seen the site manager on a couple of occasions already from people talking to me, so I'll take that one up I'll go and see and make sure, because I have been there when it's been across, but the gate's been up, so you've been able to do it. But
Yeah.
at night they should shut it and move the fences across. Okay, I'll see them.
Are there any other points? Under planning, we have a motion to agree
Oh,
the
yeah.
any road for the development of Chapel Drive. And the motion was to agree that the road was called the Gordon Smith Close.
Did you all get the notes that I sent round?
They were very
Yeah.
helpful, Alan.
Yeah.
I just want to give a 2-minute summary of Gordon Smith for the members of the public.
Could I invite Alec to do it?
You may invite Alec to do it, yes.
This is a 2-minute resume.
2 minutes only. we have.
Right. Gordon Smith was the village dustman from about the end of the Second World War to a date in the early 70s. And he not only was the dustman, but he was a man who was revered and trusted by everybody in the village. Now, I've only been here for 5 years. I'm telling you what I've heard from his daughter, who is Olive Sheehan, who's now about 90 and in poor health. But she did tell me, we had an article in Village Life about this man, and he was so highly thought of that when he died, a plaque was created at the time that the pavilion was being built, and it was set into a wall facing the play area. And I don't know where the initiative came from for the street naming, but
It came very much out of that plaque that we started to investigate what it was about, and we got quite a lot of feedback on Facebook where I put a general inquiry out, and people were very, very supportive of what he did and the example that he set. Now, and I thought in some of the stuff that you sent me, Alec, that the fact that when the plaque was actually put up, it was featured in the Daily Express and the Daily Mirror as an example of a fine member of the community and society, and it was felt that another way to take that forward would be to carry the honour forward into a more permanent thing, name a road after him, because isn't that what we want from people in the village, is to follow the example that he set, and that was solely the motivation behind it.
it was said that he kept the village spotless.
Yes.
And he took a personal pride in doing that, and his daughter, on his death, carried on, and I don't know how long for, but for some years, and she carried on the tradition. Whether it was official or unofficial, I don't know.
So that background is basically why we as a parish council came to the idea that would be a good name for the road.
I'd like to propose that.
So, Alan, propose, seconder please. Susie, and we have a show of hands please. Approved. So can we make the move to the next agenda item please, which is the facilities committee report.
Grounds maintenance. The churchyard. The autumn's ground maintenance of the churchyard needs to be undertaken. This generally involves raising the canopies of the trees to enable clear access within the graveyard. It's an annual work, but that was never put into the original contract. We've had a quote from Buckland Landscapes, I think it's for £569. £590. To carry out that work, and the motion is that we would like approval to agree to carry out the tidying and pruning in the churchyard as per the quote.
Have we had any other quotes?
It's just, no, they're our landscape contractor. They're the preferred contract.
No, I know it doesn't need to, but do we think that's a reasonable sum for what he's going to do?
For what he's got to do, yes.
We do, and what I also noticed that there's been additional, I know we discussed this, there's been additional cutting, hasn't there?
That's right.
And how much do they charge per session for cutting the churchyard?
Off the top of my head,
We don't know.
well, I think I've got it written down somewhere.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that
Well, not-
was
yeah,
that was agreed at a prior meeting.
it was. I just think there's a lot of money going on the churchyard maintenance. We had a good contract initially with Bucks Landscape. We keep lobbing all these extra bits in all
Well,
the time.
I mean,
It's starting to mount up.
Well,
I'm just trying to, you know,
yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from.
value
But
for
the
money.
fact is that the churchyard was initially underspecified,
Yeah,
and so we had to correct that. We knew at the time that there would be an issue around trees and hedges and things, which were never
never part. I do
never
remember
part
that,
of the ITT.
Yeah,
All I can say is that we're picking these things up, that when we do the ITT next year, the churchyards are going to be specified separately from the general grounds maintenance, with a view that we can perhaps encourage smaller local people who do the likes of Buckland Church, Drayton Beecham Church, to tender for the upkeep of our churchyard.
good, great.
But I can't correct
No,
historically what
that's
was not
fine.
done last
No.
year. All we can do is
Yeah,
deal with the problems that arise from it.
absolutely.
I think
That's
we
great.
also should remember that the churchyard was quite something quite emotive when we first started this parish
Yeah.
council, because people were complaining about the state of it.
Yeah.
And we had quite a lot of complaints. So I
Okay.
do think we need to, and it is something that's very important to an awful lot of people. So I think, obviously, for obvious reasons, but I think we do need to make sure we keep on top of its maintenance. And I agree with what Alan's saying, we can put it into proper tender for next
Yeah,
year.
great, that's a good idea. Well, yeah.
Okay, so motion.
I'll propose it. Second it. Show of hands, sir.
Thank you. Right, sports and recreation. Oh, hang on. Sorry. The autumn-winter grounds maintenance programme will be getting underway in the park as soon as the grass cutting season comes to an end. This will involve clearing the remaining beds of nettles, etc. Additionally, raising the tree canopies to provide easier maintenance for next year, with a view to bringing the derelict areas of the park back into general use, as we've done this year with the area adjacent to the meadow pitch. The wildflower meadow alongside Green Park will remain as is, and that will be the wildflower area of the park. But it's costing us nothing more than basically cutting the damn grass to get these things brought back into use. Certainly when they cleared the proposed area of the picnic site, the amount of debris that was pulled out of there was unreal.
There was always a lot of stuff there, wasn't there?
Yeah, but we now have that cleared, and that, as part of the picnic area development, will be brought up to standard in the spring.
Did we ever do anything about that tree that came down inside? Did we ever do anything about that in the end?
I still need to get a third
It's still, we haven't done.
opinion on that, because the two opinions I got
Yes.
completely opposed each other.
Correct. I just wondered
Is that the Catamol one?
No, that's
No.
the one here at this end. It's still on my things to
Yeah,
do
okay,
this.
just, just when Alan talked about it,
Oh, yeah.
just suddenly prompted the
Yeah.
thought that we, have
The one in the wood?
Yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
next to the Muddyfoot Park,
Yeah.
if you like, in that, near the beach area.
It's
Okay, still ongoing,
still on
fine.
the list, yeah.
Okay.
Right, sports and recreation. The S106 allocation of monies from Stratford Close will be going to the community centre. Woodgate House will be allocated to the widening and improvement of the park entrance driveway. AVDC have advised the council that we have a requirement to provide wheelchair access to our new facilities, such as the Mugger skate park improvements and picnic area. This will be funded by balances from Stablebridge Road and 2 other residues. The additional benefit of this is it will provide all access weather to the play park for the first time. Events, Jill's already mentioned Remembrance Sunday, we're on 8th of November, and Santa's float procession will start from Wenwell Close on Sunday the 20th at 3:30 in the afternoon. Right, Park. The working party comprising of councillors Wyatt, Beaumont and Osborne has been convened to draw up recommendations for a long-term plan for the play park, and in particular the provision of apparatus, or more apparatus, for toddlers, as we feel we're catering now with the Mugger for teenagers. The equipment that's there is very much about the 5-year-olds and above, but we don't have a good offering for the toddlers, so the working party is going to concentrate on that, but we'll look at the other equipment as well. Safety measures that were recommended by the play park inspector have now been completed, and it is proposed to repaint the play park equipment as part of ongoing maintenance. Just as soon as we get the requisite number of quotes, then we will present that as a motion to a future meeting. It's been agreed to remove the Salvation Army clothes bin from the entrance to the park. This will enable an enclosure to be built to secure the bins and reduce the opportunity for fly tipping. And to that end, I'd like to propose a motion to agree a contractor for the use of building the bin enclosure. You've all should have had copies of the quotes. We have supplier number 1, whose proposal is to build a roof structure from pressure treated timber with vertical side slats, ledged and braced doors, corrugated metal roof and roof bracing. They have provided us with extensive designs and description, and the quote for that is £1,450. Company number 2 have proposed a roof structure. We've requested more detail than they've given us, but they've come in with a quote of £1,580. And company number 3 have proposed merely an 8-foot high enclosure with no roof at all, with a cost of £1,240.
Which is your,
Sorry, can I ask a question? The last one, number 3,
Yeah.
is that the bit with gaps? Are they all,
They've all got gaps.
so they're all going to be,
Yeah,
so they won't
they're
suffer
breathable.
wind damage? So I was thinking roofs smell from waste bins, but if they've got gaps, they'll be aerated, won't they?
That's right.
Okay, yeah, just needed to know.
The roof is mainly there, I think, was it?
Stop people throwing stuff
Yeah,
over the top.
yeah.
so what's the recommendation of your committee? Well,
I think that's what we're doing tonight.
That's what we're doing
So,
tonight.
what is your recommendation?
My recommendation would be to go with company number 1.
Okay. Has anyone else got any questions on those? There's 3 questions. There's 3 companies there for Leslie.
Oh, sorry, I think you were looking on it. Is it because they did the pictures?
It's because they provided the most comprehensive quote.
Yes.
I believe it meets the needs of the facility that is required out there. And as the other companies haven't provided the detail to know the robustness
Yes.
of it,
Yeah.
they almost fall out by default.
Yeah, they could give you
Yes.
timber that's not even treated.
That's right.
It's not their problem.
Did we have a recommendation for those from outside, or are they just... Yes.
Yeah.
So we do know them, we know
Yeah,
them.
we've
That's
used them
good.
before.
Okay, that's good.
Has anyone else got any comments or
Just a
questions?
question. How many bins have we got out there at the moment?
4.
4. And how big is the structure going to be? Was that stated? Is it going to give room for
We did
some more
originally
bins?
say that we needed facility to go up to 6.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought. And,
Yeah,
is that,
we
and is that what's going to be?
Yes, it will be.
It will, okay. That was my question. You need some spare capacity?
Yes.
Great, okay. And obviously we decided, wasn't there some talk about, was it the Salvation Army bin that we're going to...
Get rid of.
Yeah, were they going to possibly make a contribution? Was it that?
No, they were going to make contributions to stay.
To stay, but we decided...
We decided
we did that,
Wasn't
okay.
worth it.
Yeah.
One of the sketches seems to have they're saying looking approximately 5 metres for long and then 1.5 deep.
I did point that out to him, and he said it probably need to be wider.
Yeah, so it's he's crossed out
I think
6,
he's
doesn't
slightly
he?
got his sums wrong.
Yeah.
But I,
So it will, as long as it does house 6 bins, I
Yes.
think that's important.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So what's the committee's view, the council's view on these 3 quotes? Which we've got
Tender 1 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is everyone else of that view? Is everyone else of a different view of the these 3 tenders? Okay. Tender 1, okay. Do you want to move to a motion to approve?
I'll propose that.
And I'll second it. And show of hands who's in favour of tender number 1?
Tender 1, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Right, now move on to the next thing, which is defibrillate. Sorry,
Those heart things.
A joint project between the council and the school to provide a defibrillator by the school entrance has already been agreed using Gib Lane funding. However, Gib Lane funding isn't for the exclusive use of the council, and other groups within the village may well put in the funding. In the event that this application is unsuccessful, it's proposed that the council fully fund this defibrillator, and as such, the motion to that is to agree to finance the joint project defibrillator from PC funds should the Gib Lane funding application not be successful.
Cost?
Susie?
Where for the whole project, which will include insurance, counselling if you have to use it, a community sort of outreach where it'll come training for people who want to do it. We're looking at the initial cost for putting in for about £2,400, and then depending what insurance package we want to go to after that, which there are 3 different ones to look at, which we need to look at more detail, will again add another couple of £100 running cost each year.
Okay, and how much is would the Gib Lane funding application cover that or not?
The Gib Lane funding application, which should, if we get it, is £2,000.
Okay.
Is that for 1 or 2?
That's for 1.
Is it cheaper if we have 2?
I've got a quote for 2, but they've given it me as a quote as 2 different ones at the moment, so I haven't actually gone back to say, okay, what particular deal, but who we're going with, after researching several different places, they're a non-profit making organisation in any case. But we've gone for the kind of the more the top of the range one, which is then the easiest for any lay person to use, for want of a better term, and also vandal proof, and also the siting of it for electricity, because it needs a feed to keep it warm throughout the year.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if we have 2, would it cost less than 1 times 2, if you see what I mean?
Depending if you go for 2 top of the range or not, I would say, because I've got a quote for the top of the range one, which is the one that we've gone for, and then there's a quote for slightly less for another one if we're looking at the second one at the park.
Okay. Why have you gone down the stage for the one in the park?
No, it's just that was the first proposal to go and see what the options are. It wasn't until later that it's cropped up that you said, well, like with the footballs and things, and possibly somebody else looking at wanting a second one.
Okay.
So then we can kind of look down that route a bit more to be precise on which one we want and which is the most appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
So do you want to go for the both motions here?
Well, we can talk about the second one and do both motions together if you want. Additionally, we would like to agree to install a second defibrillator in the park, and we would like to pay for that from the proceeds of the sale of grounds equipment, as to actually put something back into the park, and that will be situated by the pavilion so that it's there for people playing sports and what have you in the unfortunate event that we need to use it. So, do you want to me to propose those 2 motions together?
Yeah,
I think we
for
can.
simplification.
Because they're at the same topic, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So the 2 motions would be to agree to finance the defibrillator, the joint product of the school from our funds, should we not get the funding from Gib Lane, and also to agree to the second defibrillator in the park from the sale, funded by the sale of the grounds equipment, of which money is more than adequate to cover, isn't it?
Yeah.
So who would like to propose that?
I propose that.
And second, okay. A show of hands, those in favour, please. Okay, and then this again. Thank you. Can we now move on to the community centre subcommittee, please, David?
Sure. I think just looking back, the sort of 5 months that this project's been live, I think we've come a long way, in as much as we met the first deadline, which was the National New Homes Bonus grant application form submission, which was on the 30th of September. To do that, we had to present a business case, full plans and full costing for a replacement community centre. That has all gone to ABDC. We had great support from our appointed architect and quantity surveyor. They came up with a proper job. I think I've mentioned it before at previous meetings, the plans that have been designed so far meet, I think without exception, every user group's requirements. And at some point in the future, when we move to, we want to display the plans so that those that have commented will have the opportunity to review and comment, because that will formulate our thinking. If we need to make changes to them, we're now in that process where any changes will have to be recosted, but we can allow for that. And then, taking Susie's point about funding, it's not just for projects like this, but we need to look at where the sources of funding are, because we're looking at an enormous cost, and we probably need 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sources of funding. Some of that's Section 106 money, some of it could be new homes bonus, which is discretionary. We may get nothing, we may get all we've asked for, highly unlikely. And what the expanded subcommittee want to explore these other sources of funding, which may include borrowing. What we don't want to do, I think, is have this plan and not deliver a new pavilion for 5, 6, 10 years. You know, we look at it as being a 2-year project from now. We're fortunate that we have a caretaker tenant, in as much as the cafe, your cafe in the park. We couldn't hope for a better tenant. I think it's almost universally supported, and they're paying money. And I think it's a point that we need to make the village aware, whether it's through everything Aston Clinton, is that every pound spent in that cafe returns money to the parish council, which again is ploughed back into the project.
Thank you very much. Any points for Toby?
I think I'm definitely letting the public know, because I've tried to let a few people know when I've been out just having a conversation. I go, really? Oh, I didn't know that was the case.
I mean, they're quite good because they put support in your park, but they don't actually know the rationale behind it. So I'm sure we can do something like that.
Paul?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I mean, there's other funding. The Premier League are about to release a load more new money with the new deal for grassroots football, so we should definitely tap into that. Because this is a heavily used park, a successful football club, all the good criteria for claiming some Premiership money. Sport England and as you said, rightly said, there's prudential borrowing we could do if we had to for a balance, or which is what AVDC do, Bucks County Council do. They borrow money at very cheap interest over 25, 35 years. So with our preset we could well afford a sum of money. It depends how much, but so yeah, I think we can move ahead.
Can I also say thank you to Toby, because it did a huge amount of work getting that document in by the 30th.
On holiday.
And yeah, so it's a big document, and a huge thanks to Toby for doing it.
No money there, Toby.
That's the only thanks you're going to get, Toby. Are there any other questions for Toby? Okay. Items for the next meeting. Anything that's on the agenda is not standard, not normal.
I would like to revisit the communal area of the Stablebridge Road development as to the prior decisions that have been made in respect of it, and whether or not we should be going back to talk to Taylor Wimpey about what they have on offer.
Okay, can we move back to the next? I can look at the next and see if it becomes agenda item. Any other points? Any other items you'd like to have for next meeting? Okay, and as we've commonly now done, although we don't have no requirement to do so, we're opening it up again to any points from the floor. If anyone would like to say anything, add any comments, you're very welcome.
My points for Colin. We spoke about Putman's Drive at the last meeting.
Yes.
And you were under further investigation as to who owns the land,
yes,
etc., etc.
Yes.
As we've now discovered that it's £7.50 to find out, do you think that might be an option?
Okay, certainly. If that's the case, we'll do it, yeah.
Is there any further development? Have you found out any more?
I took that as far as I could with Bucks County Council, and as close as I got was it was not their land, and it was not utility land either.
So could it now be Parish Council land?
Correct. We don't know is the answer. We don't know whose it is. Okay.
What we didn't want to do was enter into just any kind of dispute with the land.
No, I appreciate that.
But there is nothing wrong with finding that out. And if I wouldn't do it for 149 quid, but if we can get it for cheaper, then I'll certainly take that further.
Are there any other points? John?
Chairman, can I ascertain that we will have the good support from the Parish Council at the War Memorial on the Remembrance Sunday?
That has been
Yeah.
discussed.
It's very important that the council are representative there.
No, I do. It will be. Now, I'm afraid, actually, unfortunately, I'm actually on holiday. It's my only holiday this year, but Colin will be there, I'm sure, as vice chairman.
Yeah.
And others are definitely attending as well, Joe.
Yeah, I'm all see you go then.
Are there any other points from the floor? Okay, thank you very much. And the last point is the date of the next meeting.
It's the 4th of November.
Okay, I think. Is there no comment from the other councillors at the very end?
Sorry, can I just ask to see one thing? I'm not sure if everyone's aware, there is an EDL demonstration on Saturday in
There is,
L3.
starting in Kingsbury Square outside my Tansby's.
Between 1 and 3 supposedly, but they don't reckon there's going to be as many as last time. I hope not, because they descended on me. But
Yeah, no, the people are aware because the people who occupy Kingsbury Square are discussing what they're going to do about their shops with last time.
they've boarded everything up,
There's
so
a
they won't
prescribed
go
route,
to.
isn't there?
Yeah, but last time they boarded everything up,
Yeah, that's
and there was some damage done, but they haven't decided yet whether to board things up or not. Okay, is there any other points that can be declared? Stop it, shush! Is there any other points can be declared before the meeting formally closed? You can start talking, yes?
Bake-offs,
You can start, go,